With the advent of T20 cricket, one thing that has really caught our fascination and it's become part of cricketing jargon, that is the computer analyst. Now in most of the IPL teams you will see a computer analyst sitting there. I know this for a fact that a lot of data goes into planning when it comes to an IPL team, what bowling changes to make, at what situation of the match, who should be going out to bat. Various things are now decided not just by plain cricketing minds but also by data analysts looking at those minute numbers. Now, we all know, despite data analysts playing such an important role, still conventional cricket logic seems to triumph in T20 cricket, and the biggest example of that is none other than MS Dhoni. What I learned is that MS Dhoni even now relies on his instincts, relies on his guts, relies on his experience to take a few calls in T20 games, and as you know, he is still one of the most successful captains in this format. Today I will tell you a story which actually underlines why MS Dhoni is not a big fan of computer or data analyst. You're watching SporTales with me, Nikhil Naz. So this story is from 2018. It was a qualifier that was played between Chennai Super Kings and Sunrisers Hyderabad. Remember, Sunrisers Hyderabad in that particular season of the IPL were in outstanding form. And so on the eve of the game, the batting coach of Chennai Super Kings, and has been for a very long time, was a star Australian batsman in Michael Hussey. Now, on the eve of that qualifier one between Sunrisers Hyderabad and Chennai Super Kings, Michael Hussey gets a call from their data analyst who tells him that I have discovered a way of figuring out Rashid Khan's googly. So there is a sign that I have picked that every time Rashid Khan bowls a googly, he does something very different, and if our batsmen follow that, then they'd be able to pick Rashid's googly well in advance. Now this was going to be very crucial because, as you remember, Rashid Khan was proving to be very difficult for all batsmen to handle in that particular season of the IPL. So Michael Hussey was intrigued. He wanted to know a bit more. So the data analyst tells Michael Hussey that every time Rashid Khan is bowling a googly, his grip, that is his index finger and middle finger, are wide apart, and every time he's bowling a leg spin, this is his grip. Every time he bowls the googly, his grip becomes like this. So the gap between the index finger and the middle finger reduces. And he had seen a lot of videos, a lot of replays to come to this conclusion, the data analyst. So when you saw Rashid running, when he was running, if you see his run up, he runs like this with the ball in his hand. Every time the grip was like this, there was a good chance he was bowling a leg spin. Every time he was running with a grip like this, he was going to be bowling a googly. This is something that Chennai Super Kings data analyst had picked looking at a lot of footage of matches. Now he told this to Michael Hussey. Michael Hussey was intrigued, was also very excited, because that was one way that his batsman would be able to pick Rashid Khan and then neutralize him in the game. But he was caught in a catch-22 situation, Michael Hussey. He was in a dilemma. He didn't know whether on the eve of the game should he tell his batsman this or should he keep this information with him. He kept thinking about it for hours. Then, before everyone went to bed, he had a thought. He put this information down on a WhatsApp, and there was a WhatsApp of all the players, and he put this information, Michael Hussey, on the WhatsApp group and sent it out to each of the batsmen. Now that message was read by most of the batsmen. Each of them sent a reply back to Michael Hussey saying that this is very interesting, and they're going to follow it in the game, and this is going to come as a major relief for all the batsmen. Only one man did not reply to that SMS. That was MS Dhoni. So he saw that WhatsApp message but did not reply to it. Now Michael Hussey was also a bit nervous because he knew that he had let the players know something. It was an interesting data, but what if this didn't work? Because if this did not work, then all the blame might just come on him as well as the data analyst. Anyway, the match happens. There's no discussion that happens before the match. The match happens, and Chennai Super Kings are chasing a low scoring game. They're chasing a target of 140, and they are 24 for 3, and that's when MS Dhoni goes out to bat, and he's on 9 runs when Rashid Khan comes. Rashid Khan bowls a googly to him, and MS Dhoni puts his front foot out, tries to play the delivery, and he does not read the googly. The ball comes in. Instead of going for the leg spin, the ball comes in. It's the googly, and there's a gap between his bat and pad, and the ball comes in, and MS Dhoni is clean bowled for 9 runs. I think at that time Chennai Super Kings are 39 for 4, so they are struggling chasing 140. Now Michael Hussey sees this. Clearly the trick hasn't worked. Clearly MS Dhoni was not able to read that googly. He played for the spin, but the ball came in and was bowled. MS Dhoni comes walking back after being dismissed. The match is in a very tense situation. Michael Hussey is sitting there. MS Dhoni walked past Michael Hussey, and these are the words that he speaks to him. He says, "Thanks for that message last night, but next time I'm going to follow my instincts." And he goes away. Now Michael Hussey is, taken aback. He's thinking to himself, damn, I shouldn't have sent that message. That is what MS Dhoni followed, and that resulted in his dismissal. So he's very, very worried. And MS Dhoni, I wouldn't say he was angry, but he was emotionless, and a very stoic sort of a face he had. And he said this to Michael Hussey, and Michael Hussey was very, very worried, and they could have very well lost that game, and that would have been the end of their campaign. Anyway, MS Dhoni goes inside the dressing room. As things turn out, Faf du Plessis on that occasion gets 67 runs, and Chennai Super Kings successfully chase down that total in 19.1 overs and win the game. Then there is a presentation ceremony that happened, and Michael Hussey is standing there, at which point the game is won, so the tension is off, the pressure is off. MS Dhoni puts his arm around Michael Hussey and says that, thanks for the information. I was a bit disappointed while I was walking. That information was good, but maybe next time when you have this sort of an information, then we need to practice this a bit more and see it more often in terms of whatever data or visuals or footage that you saw. And also we need to practice this in the practice session, whether we are able to see that or not. And maybe when we practice it, instead of just telling us on the eve of the game, maybe we should practice it a little bit more next time if something like this comes. Now, for most of you, you'd think that this is the end of the story. Not quite. Now to answer your question, why is it that MS Dhoni was not able to pick that googly bowled by Rashid Khan? Now there is a twist in the tale. The twist in the tale is, just as the data analyst of Chennai Super Kings had seen footage and picked that particular grip change in Rashid Khan's grip when he's bowling the googly and the leg spin, the data analyst wasn't wrong. That was the case. But there was a problem. The problem was, just as Chennai Super Kings data analyst had picked this change of grip, so had the people that were analyzing the games on television, on the TV broadcast. What had happened around the same time, or maybe a day or two before the game, Brad Hogg, as you know, the Chinaman bowler from Australia, he was part of the select dugout that was part of the analysis that Star Sports would do. And in a game just before the SRH versus CSK game, in one of the previous games, maybe just a day or two before the SRH and CSK game, Brad Hogg also picked the same thing in commentary.
If you look on the right with his leg spinner, he's got a wider grip, and the wrong one, he's got the 2 fingers closer together.
So he saw this change of grip, and Brad Hogg, being a wrist spinner himself, was keeping a close eye on Rashid Khan, and he picked that. And what happens, as soon as it went on the broadcast, clearly the word must have reached Rashid Khan. Either Rashid saw it himself, or as far as I know, the word did reach Rashid Khan that this is something that was discussed on the broadcast of IPL. So what happened, Rashid Khan came to know of that, and he realized that if the broadcaster can pick it, it's going to become common knowledge very soon, and batsmen are going to be looking at my grip. So what Rashid did was, he did not change the grip, at least in his run-up, but while he bowled the googly without really making that grip change from this big gap to the shortened gap. He didn't do it. So the CSK data analyst wasn't wrong. Michael Hussey wasn't wrong in passing the information. MS Dhoni also wasn't wrong in reading the grip. For all you know, he did see that the grip was still wide and was expecting a leg spin. But because it also went on the broadcast of television, Rashid Khan last minute made that change, and this is how the story played out. Which is why probably MS Dhoni relies more on his instincts rather than a lot on data analyst, and he's not the only one. Another very successful captain in the IPL, Gautam Gambhir, I've interviewed him many times, and he also says that, you know, data and all is fine, it can just be a bit of a support, but majority of the decisions have to be cricketing decisions, and they have to be taken on the field based on your experiences. So two of the most successful captains in the IPL, this is their funda when it comes to data and video analysis. I hope you liked this story. If you did, do give us a like on this video and share it with your friends. And for more such content, don't forget to subscribe to Sports Today.